The art museum in Ciudad Juárez is an alien spaceship. I know this because I've never seen anything else like it in my desert town, my sparse border city, my sun-drenched home. History books will tell you that the museum was built by famed Mexican architect Pedro Ramirez Vázquez. But I know better. Spaceships land fully constructed and full of constructs. This one landed on March 7, 1964, packed to the brim with missions to accomplish. It is meant to resemble a Mayan hut, which only an alien would consider significant in the Mexico-US border, far from Mayan influence. It is meant to perpetually be surrounded by nearly 160,000 gallons of water in the middle of an arid land known for overwhelming thirst and sponge-like cacti. Just like a castle vault, this spaceship boasts a moat of its own, meant to keep barbarians at bay. The same barbarians it was meant to refine. The unruly desert dwellers that never fully embraced the identity of a nation steeped in colonial traditions. Refining barbarians was not the alien spaceship's only mission. It was also meant to be a facelift for a city never developed enough to be run down. It was to put a modernist face and concrete limbs on binational embraces. Eventually, the barbarians pressed their way past the moat as barbarians often do and found room to plant a flag of their own. It was a flag made of mosaic that celebrated the shapes and traditions of a pre-colonial history that was still foreign to the Chihuahuan desert, whose culture was always more Halloween than Day of the Dead and more Easter Bunny than Resurrection Sunday. Eventually, the spaceship's shell began cracking under the weight of its age. Nevertheless, the spaceship persevered, even as desert warlords constantly schemed to evict it and, as only true barbarians do, make a buck of the landing site. But it was too late. The alien spaceship had been adopted by the desert dwellers it had successfully refined. The clubs, the guilds, and assorted creative types that felt at home in the spaceship's halls refused to let it be taken away. Still, a rift between the spaceship's commanding officers and tribes of local artists deepened, as many recognized their own underrepresentation within a space that was never meant to house the desert's culture, a culture of crossbreeding and resilience, flexibility and chaos. The natives even began wondering if instead of invading the alien craft, maybe they should focus on fashioning makeshift spaces to house expressions and artifacts of their own, especially since the spaceship had suddenly become a house of worship where cultural luminaries of the time came to be celebrated. To this day, the tension between native and alien directives fuel much of the spaceship's internal combustion. It continues to explore flight plans into the desert dwellers' collective awareness, their sense of belonging, their troubled, albeit loving, relationship with a craft that was never meant to accept them as they were, but rather change them to the core and make them more acceptable, more refined.
Gobierno de México.